case study live for today. And today, this is going to be fun. So if you guys are not a member of Burr Cash Flow Investors on Facebook, make sure that you join. And today, Harry is here. So Harry, if you want to say hello.
Hey.
So today we're going to be talking about a case study, which is, can everybody hear me? Everybody hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I think hopefully everybody should be able to hear us. Okay, so today we're going to talk about a case study, which is a property that is in Palatine. So let me kind of show you the property, and I'm going to go through this property, and we're going to talk about today because this is a deal that we're making as we speak. And on every Wednesday, our goal is to let me open this. Download and open. Okay, so our goal is that every single Wednesday we're going to take one case study of either it's our deal, it's somebody's deal within the group that is working on a property, and that's what we're going to go through. So here we go. So I have the case study open. It's loading as we speak. And as soon as it does, I'm going to kind of show you the pictures, and I'm going to go through the property, and we'll ask Harry what the deal is. And we're going to talk about this is an off-market property that Harry's working on. So Harry, as I'm getting this all set up, number one, how exactly did you find the property? Was this a cold call? Was this a mailing strategy? Was this a PPC lead? Where did the lead come from?
This was actually a mailing strategy from the hot list that we have.
Okay.
I was able to get a phone call after I sent out a postcard.
Okay, got it. So with mailings, a lot of times people will say, I sent a mailing out, and Andrew, the first time I did something, man, it didn't work. So does it work like that?
Well, no, it really doesn't work like that. It's a numbers game with the mailing.
Okay.
Kind of got to stick to it. I would say maybe at least 3 to 6 months to get some kind of traction, some kind.
Okay, and just to give people an idea, your first deal at the time, you weren't even in mastery, right? You on a personal basis, you kind of didn't know me, but you used to come to the RIA meetings, the live RIA meetings. Okay. And this was a property at the time you found in Buffalo Grove, right? So what happened really quick, because this is, guys, it's important to understand when we do these meetings every single week, what our goal is for the entire community. If you're a part of Mastery, fantastic. If you're not a part of Mastery, it's okay. What our goal is to show you that it's possible to do a deal. You don't know what to do? Guess what? Show up and become a part of the entire community. I'm talking about the Burr Cash Flow Investors community, and we're here and we're happy to help you with it from our end. So what happened in that case?
Well, I was coming to the RIA meetings and learning the different strategies. Wholesaling was one of the ones that I was interested in. So I took the advice from the meetings and I started to do my own mailers. I was going out the mailers, and I was getting phone calls, but I quite didn't know how to put the deal together. I didn't have to find the back end value. So, the back end buyer.
Okay.
So when I finally got the Buffalo Grove one, I kind of did my due diligence, went out, and build a rapport with seller. And once I realized that it was a good deal, I knew, okay, let me go to this RIA meeting where all these investors are and try to shop this deal around.
Okay, so that was kind of your first deal. And on the first deal, right, everybody on YouTube makes thousands of dollars, right? What was your reality?
My reality, I made about $5,000 on that first one.
You made $5,000. And so how much did you spend and how much did you make in relation to that?
I spent, I would say, close to $300 on the campaign.
$300, right?
Yeah.
And did you go out and see the seller, and how many times?
I went out and saw the seller. I did a lot of things with that seller. That's a long story, but yeah, went out and saw her maybe about 4 or 5 times.
Okay, so it was, and the reason I'm bringing this up, guys, is that everybody I know wants to hit a home run, and they want to do it like that quick, right? First deal was $5,000. What about second deal?
Second deal, another $5,000.
Another $5,000. Yeah. What about your third deal?
The third deal, about $10,000.
$10,000. What about your fourth deal?
Fourth deal, probably maybe about $30,000.
$30,000. Yeah. And then your fifth deal was the big one.
That was the big one.
That was the big one.
$80,000.
$80,000,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So it took him, right, 5, 10, 30, 80, right? And guys, this is a learning process. Hence, it's not something that, oh my God, tomorrow you're going to make 100,000, but it's possible, right? If it's possible for Harry,
Absolutely.
it's possible for you and I. So, okay. So talk me through this deal. Let me show everybody the property, right? Like we said, this was found. Hey, Lori, help me out here. Is everybody able to see that case study? Because I'm having still.
You are sharing your screen.
Oh, I am? Okay. All right, cool. So do I need to be on that screen or can everybody see it? How does this look? Oh, my PowerPoint can be seen? Okay. All right, cool. Yeah, because I'm just confused. Okay. Looks like Zoom. Okay, great. All right, good. So guys, as we do more and more of these, we'll kind of become good at this.
Right.
But so Harry,
Yeah.
You do a mailing, right? And this is a property that you go out to, and it's a property that's in northern suburbs, and the school district over there, for those of you guys that may not know, I don't want to mention the suburb, you'll understand the reason why in a couple of minutes. But the school district is Frem Schools. So if you're from the Chicago market, Frem Schools is top 10. So the primary school is top in 10 school. The high school is 10 school. The middle school is not quite as high, but it's a very, 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 very desirable area. So you want to write down what, so let's go through the pictures a little bit, right? I want to kind of show everybody the pictures of the property as to what it looks like. So this is kind of the outside of the property. I already put over there 350, right? So 350 is what exactly?
That is the balance that's owed.
Balance owed on the property, right? And here the property is not behind. They don't owe back taxes. No. They don't owe, there's no as such, but the situation is that the family now does not want the property, right? The owner passed away and the family basically is like, hey man, I want to be done, right? So what we're going to analyze today is this, right? I already told you it's from high school. So if you know that area, number one, if I was to ask you A meaning aspirational, B meaning middle, C meaning some challenges, D, where would you clarify? Where would you put that area?
Definitely A.
Definitely A. Would you like to live there?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, right? Okay. So it's the A area. We know 100%. What do you think the prospects are at the right price to flip that property? At the right price. You think will it flip?
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely, right? No questions
No
asked.
question.
Even today's market.
Doesn't matter what the market.
Right. Yeah, it's going to flip, right? Flip. So 100% can be flipped.
Absolutely.
How about rental?
All day long.
All day long, right? All day long. I mean, yeah, it'll rent like that. Yeah. How about Airbnb?
That will work too.
Right? So we have three different strategies. The question here becomes is, number one, can we pay 350, right? We can't get the price down, right? Can we pay 350? Number two is, do we do a flip on the property? Do you do a rental strategy on the property? And do you do a Airbnb? And what you should look at always is that, hey, where's the highest and best yield on the property? Meaning, where do I get the highest return? Not only that, but does that fit my goal, right? So let's just, and I'm going to assume this is a mailing you did for me, but I'm just going to assume, let's just say that Harry's doing for himself, right? Harry does this as a part of our business, but let's just, so let me ask you this, Harry. Number one, on a property like this, let me show the pictures really quick, right? It's pretty clean property, right? Nice, clean condition. Would you say this is spectacular rehab or just it's a nice, clean house?
Nice, clean house.
Right? Nice, clean house, pretty mint condition.
Mint condition, for sure.
So it's dated, obviously. It's not like it's, but this will rent exactly the way it is.
The way it is.
Right? You don't have to put a dime in.
Correct.
Okay. So let's look at, this is the other room with the fireplace. So this is the basement, right? So the property is in really decent condition. Bathrooms aren't bad at all, right? This is kind of the backyard. So this is the general condition of this particular property. So now, now I shared this. Now I don't know how the heck to get out. How do I get it? Oh, okay, here we go. Okay, all right, great.
Yeah.
So 350 is the deal.
Right.
So now let me ask you this, right? So the first thing, guys, is going to be is we already know it's a great location, right? As far as if this was a fix and flip, right? The highest and what do you think in today's market, right? Rates are high, man. Right. That's just how it is.
Right.
What do you think this would sell for as a fix and flip right now?
Right now, 400s, in the 400s for sure.
Right?
Yeah.
You think 450s or 500s?
In the current condition that it's in, maybe closer to 450.
450 in the current condition, right? If it's perfectly fixed up, maybe 525.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. The problem with this property is this: it's in too nice a condition to really start fixing it up. Right. That's the problem with this particular property. Right. So let's do the numbers for a flip first.
Okay.
Right. And then don't erase the numbers, just kind of move that over.
Okay.
Right. So let's just assume, guys, that we're going to be very generous with this. Let's say that because we know it's a area, we know it's got 3 bedrooms, 3 full bedrooms, if not 4, right? 3 full baths, right? So I don't know, man. I mean, I'm feeling a little bit more optimistic. I'm saying 470 on the back end. Right.
Yeah.
So the first thing, and you've heard us, if you've ever joined us, the first thing you have to look at is you got to look at, so you want to draw like just a square and maybe just put a dot in the middle, right? The first thing you're going to do is, so let's just say this is your subject property, right? Where Harry has the square. This is your subject property right in the middle. And then if I'm looking at a square or a circle, how far out am I going to go from that area? How far out would you go to look at comps?
Maybe half mile.
Half mile?
Half mile.
Okay. So what I'm going to try to do is generally an appraiser is going to go about a mile max. Yeah. But if they can find a comp that is closer within a quarter mile, half a mile, that's where they're going to stop. Right? Yeah. They're not going to go and say, oh my God, well, Harry really needs a really good value, so I'm going to go outside that area. But what you have to think about is that if this whole area is going to be based on Frem High School. Why? Because that's what is one of the driving factors that gives the home value, because schools in that particular area plays an important part. Yeah. So if this is Frem High School and half of this happens to be in a different area, I'm not comparing apples to apples. So I want to get basically the house as close as possible and compare to the schools. So Harry, if let's just say you don't have access to MLS, right? What site, anybody that's watching this, they're like, but I'm not an agent. Right. How do I find out the value? What sites can they go to find the value?
You can go to Zillow.
Right.
And you can go to Redfin as well.
So Redfin. So next time when we do the case study, man, let's do that. Okay. Right. Let's pull up Zillow. Let's put up Redfin, and then we'll do this live. Okay. Right. We'll get 2 computers. Yeah. We do this live, so we'll show exactly how to do comps. Okay. Right. So let's just say on the back end, right? On the back end, let's say right now that you can get about, I think you can get about 465 to 480. Right. Yeah. So let's just say 470 as a comp, right? So how do we figure out what we can pay for a flip on a property? So in this case, we're going to use a very simple formula, right? So if you're from Mastery, you're watching this, you can use the Mastery calculator. You can get it out and boom, do your numbers while we're talking. But we're going to use a very simple formula for right now, which we call the 70% minus rehab. So let's take 470. Use the broader end of it. That way people can see that a little bit better. So take 470. Oh, and I forgot to remind people. Hold on, let me put this up. Guys, tomorrow there's an in-person RIA meeting, right? In-person RIA meeting at the office. If you can't make it at the office, right, I'm putting that right there. Go to nationalreinvest.com, and this is particularly on lending, right? This is specifically on lending tomorrow. So this is going to be a critical meeting. So if you haven't been there, make sure you are there or join online. But if you're there in person, we're going to go through a bunch of case studies on how to fund your deals in today's market, because this is going to be a critical meeting even for your Airbnb.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to leave that up for a bit. Okay. So 450,000. So what's the general rule that we use? 450 times what? I'm sorry, 470.
So we're going to times that. We're doing the 70% rule. So
We're going to use so the rule is 470 times 0.7.
Right.
So if I do times 0.7, it gives me $329,000. Now, we're saying that the property looks in pretty good condition, Harry.
Right.
Right? But are there small things that you would have to do to really flip this property?
Yeah. New appliances, maybe paint, some of the stick.
Right? Because see, even if you're going to do a flip and you say, oh my God, it's in great condition, there are always going to be small things that when the pictures are taken, right? I mean, when the photographer that does real estate photography, they can literally make a donkey look like a champion thoroughbred horse, right? That's their job. That's why they're getting paid. So there are going to be always small things that are going to come up. And in a property like this, if you're just to go and touch the property, just maybe correct the paint, maybe some small things that are going to come up the inspection, bare minimum, what do you think your number is going to be?
Probably like this.
25,
maybe 30.
25,000, 30,000, something like that.
Yeah.
So if I take, so the formula goes 470 times 0.7 minus 25,000. So what does that put you at?
That's going to put you at 300,000.
304,000.
304,000. Yeah.
Right? So that's $304,000. Now, Harry, question is this.
Yeah.
Can you get this property for $304,000?
No.
No.
Okay.
Right? In this particular case, we can't.
Yeah.
And the reason we can't get it is because the sellers know, and we know, they have an option to stick this property as a seller on the MLS. And I guarantee you in as-is condition, it'll sell for higher than what we can buy, what we would have to pay at 350.
True.
Right? So we don't want to basically poke that particular deal too much, because otherwise we're going to lose the deal. Now, if this was a situation where, well, it's going to go to foreclosure, it's one of those situations, then maybe we can go to the bank, negotiate, do a short sale, do a host of other strategies.
Right.
But in this case, the family's not going to go for it, right? They're professional people. They're like, hey, we just don't want to deal with it. We have, we just want the property sold tomorrow. If we have to, we'll stick it on the market, right? So in this case, we can't even get this property for 304. They want 350, and that's it, period, right? So this option is not going to be available, right? So you want to just put F over there and just maybe draw a line through it, which is flip option is not going to be available. If I pay 350 for the property, I'm paying too much. Now, I know there are people out there that are, but Andrew, I would pay 350 for the deal, man. And then, I can flip it for 470. And what's wrong with you? You can make like 60, 70,000 bucks. And guys, God bless you. Maybe you want to do it. I'm not going to do that, right? That's just me, not for a flip strategy, not today. Because think about the market, right? What if they raise the interest rates up another half a point? We're right now in end of October, November, December, January, February, right? It's possible, even in a great area, it's possible, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it's possible even in a great area, like where the property is, that the property may not sell. It's possible, right? Over winter. So I don't want to take the chance of carrying the property. And why am I going to put up 350,000 bucks to buy a property that I can't make 50, 60,000 bucks on? It makes no sense, right? So now let's look at the rental option, right? So it's not that we can't do it. Now, there are going to be a lot of people watching this and say, Andrew, you've really lost it today. So guys, here's my challenge to you. I've done a few thousand of these transactions, right? In Mastery, I've taught people how to do about 25, 30,000 of these, right? 18,000 of which are rentals. We have a little bit of an idea, and we're still in business because we tend to be very conservative. You may not be, there's nothing wrong with it, but I don't want to go bankrupt doing crazy things. That's just me. Some other people will be like, no, I'll swing for the fences and take a $30,000 profit. You choose to do that, great, right? Can that be done on this property? Can it be done?
Yeah,
It can be done,
Yeah, for sure.
right? It can be done.
Yeah.
But we're trying to see what is the best possible option for us today, right? So rental wise, let's look at it this way. Rental wise, what do you think this property would rent for?
Probably close to $3,000, maybe.
At least
$3,000.
at least $3,000, right? I think we can get probably a little bit more out of it, right? And so when you're looking at a property from a rental perspective, what you think about is this. Number one is, will the property rent? 100% it will rent. But will the property make money as a rental property? Meaning, what is a good rental by Mass Street standards? What are the three things we try to hit for? Equity is number one, right? Cash flow, meaning we want to make at least, right, $500, $600, $700. It's a bigger property, right? You're going to have bigger roofs. You're going to have bigger things. So I want to make a good $600, $700 every single month, right? And I want to have DCR. So I want three things. Now, in a property like this, will I have equity in the property? I think so. As a rental, I'll have great equity in the property. Equity should not be an issue, right? Should not be an issue. But the challenge is going to be is that what is the cash flow going to look like, right? So let's do some cash flow numbers based on today's interest rates. So we're saying 350. We know by the time we pay closing costs, we do all that nonsense, we're going to be in this deal for about 360, right? We know that. So 360, I enter my calculator. I'm going to put interest rate. I'm going to put it at 7%, right? Because that's going to be, how much are the taxes on this?
Taxes on this is about $11,000. Was it 11 or was it?
I thought it was 8,500 or something like that. 8,500 and something like that. Okay, I'm just going to use. I don't think it was quite as high as $11,000.
Oh, you know what? No, it was about
8,700 or something. 8,700. Yeah. So 8,700. And guys, just please realize that we may be off by $1 or $2. We're not off by a whole bunch, but just and insurance on this, right? Generally, on smaller properties, it's somewhere else $600, $700. On this, you're going to be anywhere from $1,100 or so, just because the property, the value of the structure is going to be a lot higher, right? So I'm going to use about $1,000, and it may be $1,050, it may be $950. You guys get my math. Now, here's the deal. So if you want to put PITI, equals $3,203. So 3,203. Right? So my PITI on this property is 3,203, right? That's my payment. Now, this is before any sort of property management. Like if internally I'm managing my own property in the office, Miss Sandra does it, right? So internally I pay another $30 for that, right? So basically my payment pretty much on this is $3,250. So you want to just make it $3,250, maybe just put $3,250 just so that everybody understands. Right. Now, is it a property that has good amount of equity? 100%. Is it a property that's going to have a lot of cash flow? I can rent the property $3,500. That's not a question in my mind. The problem is this: even at $3,500, what is going to be my cash flow on this? About $250, $200. Something breaks the property, right? What happens? My whole cash flow for the year and a half, 2 years gets wiped out like that, right? So it's not that this can't be a rental, right? What you can do, I mean, you could drink and drive. You could. Wouldn't suggest it to you.
Right.
I don't think it's good for your health. I don't think it's good for the people who are on the road. And I don't think you'd probably want to get in jail and the headaches that come with it, right? I mean, that kind of stuff. That you can do a lot of things. But the question becomes is it good investing to do something like that? I don't think it is good investing. Flip, we know it will work and you would make some money, right? Here, I really don't think this property is too expensive to really do a rental and not have any money out of pocket. Now, somebody might say, Andrew, but I can put down $100,000 and I'm okay with it. So what would happen if somebody puts down $100,000 on this, right? So I'm going to do that based on 260, and we're basing it on today's interest rate, right? Now, on that kind of a number, your payment on this would come down to $23.35. So let's say you have it rented out for $3,500. Every month your payment is $25.38 or whatever it is, plus you add, so it's $2,600. So that means you'd make $900 every single month, right? So what does that mean? 900 times 12. So 9 times 12 is going to be what? 10 is going to be 9,000. And so 18. So I'm drawing a complete blank today, man. I should know that simple math. Anyways, it's 10,800, right? So if you put $100,000 down, and you'd make 10,800. So you'd be like, hey, man, I got 10% return, 11% return, approximately 10.5% return on my money, right? Yeah. And for somebody who wants to buy one house and they got an extra 100,000, is that a bad option? No, they're like, hey, I live in Palatine, right? I'm cool with it. There's nothing wrong with doing that. But guess what? The goal for you, right? Yeah. Could you come up with 100 grand right now? No. Okay. Could you come up with 20? Yeah. You could come up with 20. Yeah. Okay. So if I said, hey, man, you could own this beautiful property, right? But you'd have 100 grand stuck into it, right? Is that something that you could swing right now? No, you couldn't swing. No. You could swing 10 or 20. Right. So if you, let's say, had to have 10 into it to make 10,000 for the year, would you do that? Absolutely. Yeah. Right. So what I mean by that is this, right? That to put 10 to make 10, great. Maybe even 20 to make 10, sure. But the goal here is not to force a property to be a rental. Right. Even though good location, all things are great about the property, right? Inherently, it's a good property. But the rental numbers on this, we're going to pass. Now, let's move it a little bit forward, right? We already know what so now, if you want to put an R over there and just draw a line through it, that way we know, okay, rental, we're going to put to the side. So what is our third option, right? Our third option is going to be Airbnb, right? We know our principal, interest, taxes, insurance, and a little bit of management costs me about $3,250. But if I do an Airbnb on the property, suddenly my management expense is going to go up. Now I have to pay all the utilities of the property, right? I have to pay the cable bill. I got to pay maybe security. I got to pay cleaning. I got to pay all of those things. So we're going to account for that. So if you want to put PITI of about 3,200, and I'm making it just an even number so that it's easier for people to understand, right? Now, on top of this, what are my fixed expenses if I'm going to do an Airbnb in that area, right? In that particular area, if I do an Airbnb, I know my fixed expenses are going to be my cable bill, my electric, my water, my garbage pickup, and any of that stuff, right? And I don't know exactly how much cable is. I'm going to say about $80 a month, right? Plus other stuff. So let's just make it 100. And then you got utilities. And so you got the winter, the summer, whatever, add another $250 or $300 to it, right? So I'm going to say about $450 for just expenses that are related to cable, water, electricity, this, that, whatever, that kind of stuff, right? This is an average. Now, what about cleaning the property, right? What about other expenses that are going to come? And there's one expense that if you guys understand anything about Airbnb that we're forgetting here. And that is, it's not just an empty house. Now the house has got to be furnished, right? You got to furnish it. So your total in the deal is going to go up. And on a property like this, right, it's going to cost me somewhere around, so let me just put that in the number. So we said 360. So it's going to be about 385 is what my number is going to be. So now my payment number is going to go up a little bit. Right. So let's make the payment 3,369 or 3,370. I'm accounting for my furniture, for those kind of things, right? For an Airbnb. Okay. So my fixed cost, now this does not include management yet. My fixed cost is 3,370 plus 450. So
3820 right now?
Yeah, 3,370 plus 450. So that puts me at 3820. That's my fixed cost. Right? That's my fixed cost all day long. This is going to be the cost that I'm gonna have, and this is what my number is going to be. Now, on top of this, if I run this as an Airbnb, I'm going to have to pay anywhere from 17 to 20% in terms of management expenses, right? So the question becomes is this: that will this property make a good Airbnb? And guys, like in life, right? There's no such thing as 100%. With investing, what you want to do is you want to get it as close to 95, 96, 97%, right? Because what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is this. I'm going to look at the average rate for an Airbnb for that particular area, right? If you want to learn how that works, what happens, make sure you go to Chicago RIA. We have the tab still up at the bottom of the screen. Register yourself so that when the meeting on Airbnbs comes up, we'll explain exactly how you figure that out, right? How you use all the websites that are there. And this data is publicly available, actually, right? This is not something you have to buy anything to learn this. So, I'm going to first look at what is the average rate. More importantly, what is the average occupancy, right? What is the average rate versus what is the average occupancy? Because your average occupancy is really, really important. Now, in this particular area, I know the average occupancy for a reasonably priced property. Now, a lot of people are like, well, I want to get $500 a night, $600 a night, $700 a night. That's fine, right? I'm not trying to be the Four Seasons hotel. I'm trying to be a good quality, higher end hotel, but not be obnoxious with it. Why? Because I want to get good amount of occupancy, a reasonable amount of occupancy, so that I can get a good rent roll. In this case, Airbnb revenue, right? So I know I can get this at about 87 to about 89% revenue, right? That's going to be my number. Now, in this particular area, I know with a huge amount of certainty that I can get all day long 350, 360 for this house, if not more. Actually, the numbers are much better, but I'm just going to use about $350,000 for, no, $350, excuse me, $350 a day, right? So do you want to put 350 over there? Just, yeah, right there. Just good. So 350, and I'm going to base this on a 80% occupancy. So there are 30 days in a month times 0.8. So 30 times 0.8 is going to be 24. So if you do, say, 350 times 24, that gives me about $8,400, right? So just put 8,400. Now, 8,400 is not something that I'm going to get in my pocket on this property, right? What's going to happen is I'm going to get about 80% of that revenue, right? So 80%, because 20% is going to go to the person who's going to manage the whole Airbnbs, right? So with Airbnbs, there are two sides of this. One is going to be the real estate side of it, and the other one is going to be the Airbnb, excuse me, the hospitality side of it, right? So in this case, it's going to be, so Harry's got his terminology, right? And today I forgot it. 80% of that is going to be 6720. Okay, so you want to switch to the next page, Harry? Now go 6720 minus, what was your number? Go back to the earlier page. What was that number?
3820.
3820. So let's just make it 3,900. $6,720 minus 3,900. It's 2,820. Guys, my question is this for you, and then it's going to be for Harry, right? On this particular property, Harry,
yes,
if this property with about 95% certainty, if it makes $2,800 a month, and you can get in this deal for zero money out of your own pocket, would you do this deal as an Airbnb?
$2,800 a month
net?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Harry's like, man, that number is too big.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Guys, you would do this deal if it was $2,000 a month. You would do this deal if it was, I would do this deal all the way down to about $1,500, $1,700 a month. I would do this deal because there is no downside to it. There is only upside to it, right? Now, the question becomes is this, that it gets a little bit better. So what we said is if we basically go to the seller and if we say, hey, we're going to originate a new mortgage on this property, basically our payment on the property, as we said earlier, right? If you go back one more, right? Our payment on the property based on today's interest rate, right? This is important to understand. Based on today's interest rate, is going to be $3,250, right? This is based on today's interest rate. Right. Now, if that's based on today's interest rate, it's going to be $3,250. If they have a much better interest rate, this particular deal would make sense to do this as a subject to, meaning we leave the existing mortgage in place. Right. We take over the existing mortgage in this particular case. And the reason why we would do this is today the rate we can get on a property like this, investment property, is 7%. Right. Whereas what is the interest rate that they have?
3% right now.
They have 3%. Okay. So here's the difference I want to show you guys. So if you want to go to the last page. Right. So here, instead of basically having that number, so actually go back for 1 second. Just go back here. Okay. So instead of your, that's it. Okay. So $3,370 is your payment on the property if your interest rate is 7%. Right. But if it's 3%, if you want to just kind of put it in brackets next to it, your number over there, right there. Okay. If you want to just put that right next to 3,370 in a bracket, 2431, 2431. Right? That would be your payment on the particular property. So simply by, plus we're going to add 450 to it. Right. So it would be 2881, right? So if you want to just go to page 2, like the next page. Right there in the middle. Just take this one out. Yeah. So put 6720 up at top. Yeah, 6720 and 2881. So what does that give us? 6720 minus 2881, 3839. So instead of $2,800, just by doing a subject to on this property, right? Immediately, guess what happens to your cash flow, right? Your cash flow goes through the roof. A lot of times, right? People want to do a subject to because, oh my God, I don't have to have money out of pocket. That's not the point of subject to as far as I'm concerned, right? That's just me. Again, everybody has a different opinion about it. That's okay. But to me, in this case, it makes sense to do a subject to and to take the property from the, not take, I mean, basically to take over the payments on the seller. Because does the seller want anything for the property?
They don't want anything.
They don't want anything.
They just want to be done.
They just want to be done with it, right? They just want to be done with it. And as long as we can show them that, hey, we have done this before, this is something that we're professional at doing, they're not going to have any headaches zero headaches, and we take over the property, the number on this would be 3839 by doing a subject to on this particular property rather than buying this property and originating a new loan, right? So we wanted to do this case study because this is something that a lot of times people don't pay attention to. And this is a strategy where you use a subject to strategy, right? So having said that, if you have deals, as we talk about this, you can always let us know. You can reach out to us, and we are happy to basically help you solve that particular problem and help you with getting that deal done. This is a deal that can be done with zero literally out of pocket if the property is structured correctly and not even originating a new mortgage. So Harry, thank you for participating, guys. For everybody, click on the link below, which is National RE Invest. Go there, register for tomorrow's. If you can make it in person, come here to Oak Brook in person. Otherwise, attend online. I will talk to you guys soon. This is Andrew Holmes, and talk to you.